I am today, the 24th of February, going to speak on the visit of the Canadian Prime Minister Mr. Trudeau to the Punjab and the Hindu state of India. I have the newspapers of the last 3 days with me, and what the Hindu Indians say, that is very, very disturbing to the Sikh thought, because they have not treated this visit with the proper protocol, courtesy and the traditional welcome that is always given to the Canadian Prime Minister. I will begin with the newspapers of the 22nd of February, in which Mr. Trudeau is meeting Captain Amarinder Singh, the Chief Minister of the Punjab. We don't know what exactly transpired between the Captain and the Premier, but what the papers say, it is clear that Captain Amarinder Singh handed over a list of certain Sikhs which Captain Amarinder Singh says are separatists. Now, the Sikhs are not separatists in any manner, but they have the grievances and the grouses that in 1947, when the states of Pakistan and India were formed, they were formed on the basis of the communal population of the subcontinent. The Hindus got India and the Muslims got Pakistan. And the third party to the division of the British Empire, the Sikhs, they were left high and dry. So since then, the Sikhs have been struggling to find a place under the sun. And now that Pakistan is armed with nuclear weapons, so is Hindu India and Communist China. The Sikh territories inhabited by them are Rajasthan, Punjab, Haryana, Chandigarh, Union Territory, Himachal and Jammu and Kashmir. Now there is bitter enmity between Hindu India, Pakistan and China, and if war breaks out, the Sikhs, who are neither Hindus nor Muslims nor communists, their homeland is going to become the nuclear battlefield, which will totally destroy the Punjabi and the Sikh civilization. So we are faced with the dilemma of a total annihilation of a race, and Captain Amarinder Singh has given a list of so-called separatists. Now, Captain Amarinder Singh is the Chief Minister of the Punjab. He is also the Maharaja of Patiala. The tradition in the royal families was that the children were brought up by English or Irish governesses, which instilled in them the right etiquette, the right manners, and later on the correct protocol. Then Captain Amarinder Singh went to the National Defence Academy as a cadet. Over there, they are also taught to fight their own battles and not tattle. Then later he went to the Defence College at Dehradun, where too they are turned into gentlemen cadets and gentlemen officers, and by tradition the upbringing of these princely children and young men who go to Indian public schools, and Captain Amrinder Singh has gone to the West in Dehradun. Now, the one thing that is denned into these people is that you don't tell tales, you don't tattle, and you don't tit. Tit is the shorter version of tattle. And if anyone does that, he is called a sissy and ostracated by the other boys or fellow officers. Now, Captain Amrinder Singh has no reason to tattle to a foreign dignitary, Prime Minister Trudeau, that there are certain unwanted Sikhs in Canada who need to be spied on or to be kept under observation or surveillance. Now, Canada is a free country. It believes in the human rights, the rule of law, and principles of natural justice. It has its own problems in Quebec with the French-speaking minority. And Mr. Trudeau knows how to deal with that too. But we wonder why Captain Amrinder Singh had to tattle to the Canadian Prime Minister, whereas as Chief Minister, he has immense powers. Just the other day, a month ago, he had 2 young Sikh boys shot dead by the police in Bathinda, called them gangsters, and in cold blood had them shot dead. And 15-20 days later, on the border of Rajasthan, he trespassed into another state and had 3 young Sikhs killed in fake extrajudicial murders. Besides that, the Chief Minister can have a criminal case, as he did against me and all others, for treason, sedition, murder. And the penalty for that is a death penalty by hanging. If a Chief Minister has such wide powers over life and death, why should he go tattling to the Canadian Prime Minister that he has a problem with his Sikhs in the Punjab? Or why should he tattle to the Hindu state in Delhi also, when he enjoys such drastic powers over life and death? That is a dilemma that I am unable to understand or solve. Now we come to the next day, where the Hindu state takes up the case of Sikh extremists. Here we are. There is one Mr. Atwal. God knows what he did in Canada or Vancouver, but he is stated to have taken shots at a Punjab visiting politician years and years ago. And though Canada says he's not blacklisted, if he's not blacklisted, then he's most welcome to accompany the Prime Minister of Canada to India. But here we go. We call the Sikhs hardliners, extremists, radicals, terrorists. The other day, when the Canadian Prime Minister was in Amritsar, a parliament from the Shromani Akali Dal Amritsar, they wanted to cheer and welcome the Prime Minister of Canada in Amritsar. And here we go, the headline state, hardliners detained. Our people were detained just because they wanted to give a hearty welcome to the Canadian Prime Minister. Now, this is yesterday's news. And here we have Mr. Modi, the Indian Premier, in a bear hug with Mr. Trudeau, welcoming him. But underneath all this welcome is a lot of spite and a lot of hatred against Canada, which the Hindu states that Canada is responsible for all the ills that India is facing over here regarding the Sikhs. Now, as I said earlier, it's our right to have a free land, a free state, a Khalistani state. We don't deny it. We say it openly. And the law protects us, because whenever we hold a meeting or a conference, it doesn't lead to any rioting or any disturbance of the peace. Then Mr. Modi, in a spiteful manner, tells the Canadians that the Canadian sport, the Babbar Khalsa International and the International Sikh Youth Federation. Now, I'd like to tell everybody that the Sikh International Federation, in the last elections to the Punjab Assembly held last February, last year, this organization supported the Aam Aadmi Party, and so did the International Babbar Khalsa support this Aam Aadmi Party. Now, there has been a lot of bad blood between the Babbar Khalsa and the Aam Aadmi Party, because the Aam Aadmi Party supports a schismatic faith amongst the Sikhs, which are called the Nirankaris. And some years ago, they had a violent attack and killings in Amritsar of Babbar Khalsa activists. The Nirankaris shot dead, and the chief amongst them was Bhai Fauja Singh. Now, the current head of the Babbar Khalsa International and the Kirtaniya Jatha over here in Hindu India goes to New Delhi and gives a garland and a shawl to Mr. Kejriwal, who heads the Aam Aadmi Party. This head of the Kirtani Jatha is what he calls himself, a Professor R.P. Singh. Now, we don't understand if the Babbar Khalsa and the International Sikh Federation supports Aam Aadmi Party, which supports Hindutva, the Hindu state, the Hindu Rashtra. Now, how can they be violent, or they should be banned or anything like that? The guilt of downing and having the Air India flight from Canada to India blasted over the Irish Sea, the plane Kanishka, that is eating into the guilt of these Hindu Indian people, and they keep blaming the Sikhs for all the ills. Now, may I ask why Canada, a very liberal country in those days, 1985, expelled 2 Indian diplomats, which in its history it has never done. And then, 2 hours before the Kanishka flight was to take off from Canada, 2 senior officers from the Indian High Commission in Canada, who were to board this flight, they cancelled it. Now, why did they cancel it? Because they knew that this is going to end in a disaster. And this was brought about because the Sikh struggle for an independent and sovereign state was at its height then, and India wanted to paint the Sikhs as it is doing today, and through Captain Amrinder Singh, in dirty colors that they are terrorists. But nobody has been able to prove that the Sikhs were involved in the Kanishka disaster. But why doesn't the Royal Mounted Police of Canada have another probe into this disaster and question the reports or go through the telephonic traffic or wireless traffic that was emanating from Ottawa to New Delhi between the secret agents of the Hindu state and its headquarters in Delhi under Premier Rajiv Gandhi. Everything will come out in black and white that it was Hindu India that was responsible for the disaster of this ill-fated flight from Canada. Now, I don't want to say anything more, but suffice it to say that the Sikhs can't be put on the pedestal in international matters, and whichever head of state comes to Delhi, he's told that the Sikhs are terrorists, extremists, hardliners, radicals. This must be put a stop to, and all the Sikhs must rally together in one voice and state that we are fed up of being citizens of a country that demeans us in international affairs, and every visiting head that comes to Delhi is told that the Sikhs are terrorists, extremists, hardliners, radicals, and so on. I'll be grateful to the Sikhs and all the countries who may listen into what I'm saying to judge for themselves whether we Sikhs are anything what is stated by the Delhi rulers, the Hindus, and why the Darbar Sahib, the holiest temple of the Sikhs in Amritsar, was attacked militarily in 1984 with the help of Soviet and British troops. How could such a big armed force, all nuclear armed states, attack a stateless Sikh people and kill and eliminate and destroy their young leadership under Sant Jarnail Singh Bhindranwala and his party men and his band of followers who stuck to Sikhism and gave a great fight to 3 nuclear powers in Amritsar in 1984. Thank you very much.